Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to episode 72 of the Snowflake Viewpoint, where we cover some of the latest news happening in the UK. The date and time is the 23rd of September 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming here live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Took me a while there for it to get into my head there. There's obviously a lot of other live streams, a lot of activity going on tonight, understandably so, and we will cover some of it tonight, obviously, as well. I will probably cover more background on Starmer's speech and some of the speeches, and perhaps some of the video speeches on the Snowflake Watch on Wednesday, which is what I will probably do. I'll cover a bit more of Keir Starmer's speech, and I may even cover some of the other speeches on that day as well, but we will cover some of them today as well, because I think there is one very important speech we will cover as well. Let's just see who we got here in the chat at the moment. Jao, good to see you there on just at the moment. We just got members in YouTube. Jao is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Banker lurking there. Good to see you, buddy. Mad Monk is also here as well. Good to see you all, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Like I said, I don't expect it to be very busy tonight on here because a lot of people will be in other places, which is completely understandable. So before we get into the first article, which will be about Rachel Reeves and her speech, so I'll just give you guys a bit of a. Though I haven't watched the speech in full. I've watched parts of the speech because I've been so busy today. Getting a lot of content for you guys for the next few days, as well as content for Rumble and Patreon as well. Do check out those. Check out those if you can as well. So I've covered some of the responses and analysis that people have obviously been saying as well from them, and I've been trying to catch up with other content creators and some of the things that they've been saying as well. So I thought some of her speech was quite interesting, to say the least. Let's just go to the headline, and then I'll give you guys my initial thoughts here. So we're going to be reading this from the BBC, this first one here, guys. So Rachel Reeves says tough choices will be worth it. Rachel Reeves has promised Britain the best days lie ahead as she sought to strike a more optimistic tone in her first speech to Labour Party conference as Chancellor. So I think she was really trying to. Alistair Keir, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And Jeannie Bottle, good to see you guys. Hope you guys had a good weekend as well. I think this speech was about, while you're hearing a lot of doom and gloom from Labour, and that's kind of all we've been saying is like it's going to be tough, it's going to be difficult in this. So Rachel Reeves made it very clear in this speech there will be no return to austerity. That's what she said. Don't have to believe that, but that's what she is stating. Now, I really have said this before, and I've said this again, and I'm still incredibly critical of Labour and the donations and gifts that they are taking in, despite the outrageous defences. And there was an absolute staunch defence of Labour on that from Phil Morehouse that I saw today as well. I still think it casts a very deep shadow. Many people do believe that there is austerity coming with this budget. The honest answer is that nothing too much has been given. Nothing really has been given away. I do appreciate they are very keen to crack down. QA Library, good to see you there as well. They are very keen to crack down on like the COVID Corruption Commission and try to claw back some the PPE contracts and whatnot. I don't know. Like, it sounds all good on paper. It sounds really tough. But if they are going to claw back money, how much of it they're going to be? How much are they going to be able to claw back? Is it really going to make the massive difference? There were some optimistic things, I would say, in some of her speech, but I think it's very cool that we have the first female chancellor as well, which was a very nice touch as well there. I think that was nice to capitalise on. Can Labour fix things? I think is a question. Can Labour actually fix things? And I really do think it's down to. Sorry, I just want to check my bike is fine. I really do think it's down to how much they're going to pay attention to people when they say things like dealing with Brexit, an issue that won't go away, ensuring that people's means in terms of cost of living crisis is going to be dealt with. We do have a cost of living crisis that needs to be addressed. There was a video by Politics Joe about the campaign to get I don't think we're covering it here. I think I'm covering it. Yeah, I'm not covering it here tonight, but about school meals, about meals for every single child. Like there's breakfast clubs in some parts of England and not parts of all of them. There's parts, every single child in Scotland and Wales are guaranteed breakfast, but there's not that here in England. There's parts of England like Cambridge and London, for example, but not every single part of the country. And that screams to me, why is something like that? You know, something as simple as ensuring that our children are fed every day. Why is that something not a priority? There are obviously things, if we go back to the Labour manifesto, things that they promised that they would keep to as well. This is her words, not mine. It's there are reasons to have some optimism, but there are also reasons to be like, can we really take in everything that they say? So yeah, I'm still like, to me, I've always said that you've got to give. I've said this when they first came in, that we've got to give them a chance, but at the same time, I'm going to hold their feet to the fire when possible. And this whole row over the gifts and donations things, like I'm just going to put this out there. Phil Morehouse, like you refused. He refused in his video to point out, like, all he kept going on banging on about is the Tories, but doesn't think for 1 second that there's no corruption or no conflict of interest in any way, shape, or form with what Labour is taking in. I don't care that it's normal. It shouldn't happen at all. If it means that taxpayer money, I think, and exactly what Marina Perkins said in Max's video earlier today, I would rather taxpayer money spent more on paying our Prime Ministers and our MP salaries more to guarantee that they don't get bribed or any conflicts of interest or any gifts or donations. I would ban gifts and donations, and if it meant that taxpayer money has to go towards paying our politicians a bit more to ensure that they are not influenced by outsiders, then so be it, because it means more goods, means more will get done. And more will get done for the sake of the people of the UK and not just by a steady few who throw money at them. Simon says 55, good to see you there as well. Anyone else popping in as well? And yeah, I mean, we know that they've been taking money in Labour. We know they've been taking money in because we've covered it on this channel. Big Madge has covered it on his channel. Helena has covered certain things as well. You know, against obviously on the we know that they've been taking money in. We know they've been taking donations. And even if it's all transparency, we're supposed to say, oh, it's perfectly fine, the rules weren't broken. So the point isn't about the rules being broken, it's a matter of principle. It's legal corruption. That's what it is. It's legal corruption is what it is. That's what I call it. You can on the phrasing of it. But so Rachel Reeves has promised Britain's best days lie ahead as she sought to strike a more optimistic tone in her first speech to the Labour Party conference as Chancellor. So Reeves has been accused of taking the economy down by warning of tough choices to deal with in what she says is the worst than expected inheritance from the Conservatives. In her speech, my ambition for Britain knows no limits because I can see the prize on offer if we make the right choices now. But she faces a backlash from trade unions and many Labour members over her decision to strip the winter fuel payments from 10 million pensioners, with a conference debate expected later this week. We're going to come on to the winter payments a bit later on because I'll talk about that in another piece. But obviously, the trade unions, some of them are being very, very very up, and some of them are being a bit cautionate as well. A caution about what they're saying as well. As Reeves stood up to deliver her speech, 25-minute speech, news broke that nurses in England have said the government's award of a 5.5% pay rise is not enough in an online poll. We'll cover that in another article if we get time. Then a few minutes into the speech, the Chancellor was interrupted by a heckler protesting about continued arms sales to Israel while the war in Hamas in Gaza continued. Okay, I have to say this. This heckler, you're an absolute fucking idiot. You are a twat. You are not helping anyone. You're not saving Hamas. You're not saving Gaza. You're not saving Hamas. You're not saving anything. You are not going to make an absolute difference. All you did was make an absolute arse of yourself, and it didn't make a single difference whatsoever. What was the point of it? What was the point of it? Another idiot who doesn't know how things work. Like, I get it about what's happening in Gaza, and I've said it so many times. I literally cover it on Rumble as well as covering it on here. You guys know. But literally by heckling the Chancellor. Do you honestly think it's going to make a difference? Really? He just made a complete twat of himself. He was an absolute plonker for what he did. He really did. Absolute idiot. Wake up. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. The campaign group called the climate resistance and claimed responsibility for the protests. Well, how much of a difference did it make? Did it make a difference? Has it made a difference to Labour? No. Dumbasses. As the protester was dragged out of the hall, the Chancellor won a standing ovation for saying this is the Change Labour Party, not a party of protest. She also received a rapturous response when she promised the war on Tory waste with the appointment of COVID Corruption Commissioner to help recoup £654 million disputed contracts the Conservatives have agreed to waiver. Now, I think there's a good question that people will ask on this. And here's a question I really would you like to think. Now, appointing this COVID Corruption Commissioner, is it going to be value for money? Are we going to recoup a decent amount of money back in the appointment of a COVID Corruption Commissioner? Is it going to be? Are we going to get value for money in putting investment in to chase down those who have taken money from us, taxpayer money? I honestly want you guys to answer that in the comments below. To loud applause, she said that money belongs in our police, it belongs in our health service, it belongs in our schools, conference. We want that money back. Well, there's another way you can get the money back, and that is from the Conservative Party. We should introduce I propose introducing a Conservative Party tax, where they should pay back one lump sum to the Exchequer, considering the amount of money that they have taken as well. I think they should do that as well. She announced that Labour's promise to set up free breakfast clubs would be piloted in 750 primary schools in England from April at the cost of £7 million. Why pilot it? Just go ahead with it. Just do all primary schools and just go with it. We don't need to pilot a scheme like this. Can we just give the kids the meals that they need? We don't need to Why do we need to means test free breakfast club for kids? We don't need to means test it. Just give it to the damn kids. Just give it to the children. No, just don't need to pilot it. Don't need to means test it. Just get it out there now. This will be followed by a national rollout, she told the conference, describing it as an investment in our young people, an investment in reducing child poverty, and investing in our economy. Defending the decision to cut winter fuel payments for many pensioners, she said, let me be clear that failure to act swiftly could undermine the UK physical position with information for public debt, mortgages and prices. We've said this before and we said this again. They didn't need to do this. There were plenty of other ways they could regenerate money, and they didn't have to do it off pensioners. I've said this before. Pensioners will die as a result of this decision by the Labour government, and we know this. We know pensioners are going to die. And it only takes one right-wing newspaper, one right-winger influencer to grab their hands on this, send this to the Daily Mail and all the right-wingers, and they will literally front-page headline says, Labour kills pensioners. That's all they need to do. It's not that hard for them to do that. Though I agree that the right-wing press are completely unfair when it comes to how they treat. Obviously, they're treating the Conservatives differently and more favourable to Labour, and I totally respect that position. But you're putting yourselves in this position, Labour. You are putting yourselves in this position. You have to say that. See, the nurses and teachers been offered a pathetic 5% increase. Yeah, we will come to that. Wake up, we will come to that. Dave McGuinness, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well, guys. Make sure you check out the two Davies channel. Someone could put a link for the YouTube channel. I believe he'll be on. They'll be on every Monday and Thursday. I believe he's doing like a morning paper review on Thursday at 10:30. I believe it is. So do check that out. Hopefully I'll be able to make time and check that out too, guys. But every Monday and Thursday they go live with the latest news, not just things in Scotland, but obviously other UK news as well, and giving their insights into things. So do check them out. Definitely worth doing that. And so I took the action to make the in-year savings necessary. Didn't have to do it off pensioners. Looking ahead to our first budget on the 30th of October, Reeves said there would be no increases to the income tax, in national insurance or VAT, and no return to austerity. Time will tell on that one. She said it would be a budget for economic growth and investment, but gave few clues about tax and spending decisions it might contain. Instead, she spoke of her prize on offer on economic stability and new industrial strategy to spread wealth across Britain. Yes, we must deal with the Tory legacy, but it means tough decisions, but I won't let that dim our ambition for Britain, she told delegates. So it will be a budget with real ambition, a budget to fix the foundations, a budget to deliver the change that we promised, a budget to rebuild Britain. And I really do hope there is some. I really do hope there is some positive stuff in the budget. Now, I am keeping a little bit of optimism. I understand how many people feel about Labour. I am trying to keep some optimism. We need to have some optimism in a world full of pessimism and negativity all the time, guys. BBC's Physical Islam points out that consumer confidence was hit, and some retailers spoke of disappointment in sales after talk of paying. The Chancellor was sending a message that the tax rises, when they come, will not primarily hit high-impressing works families, he said. And he said the UK is heading towards some changes on rules and government borrowing in order to allow more investment. This is the idiot got dragged out. I hope it was all worth it to get your 1 minute of fame. Idiot. Reeves also used her speech to announce new measures to target tax dodgers and help close the £39.8 billion shortfall between the amount of tax owed, which was actually being collected. The plans include recruiting 5,000 more tax officials over the next 5 years, with 200 new compliance officers set to start at HMRC in November. I like this idea. If they can recoup a lot more taxes, especially from a lot more from the high earners, I like to think so. I hope this means that in the long term that there'd be more money in the coffers in the long term. I really do hope so. Labour leadership team has also come under fire from one of their own MPs over accepting donations of clothes despite their 6-figure salary. Speaking ahead of their speech, Reeves said she could understand why people find it a little bit odd that politicians get support for things like buying clothes. Yeah, well, you don't need... Yeah, like... I've said what I've said about the clothes thing. I just think it's a bit ridiculous, you know. Kind of bib, good to see you on Twitch there. Sounds like Democrats get the evil rich. It does sound that way. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good weekend. Thanks for popping in. I always appreciate it. 2 Davies at 10:30 a.m. Monday to Friday paper review. Thank you, Alistair, for that. Yeah, so there we go, confirming it. He said that while the Shadow Chancellor, a friend, had given her clothes to wear on the campaign trail and for big speeches, she added that the donations had been declared, but she would not continue to accept such donations while a government minister. It's probably because, guys, they got the clothes they need. That's why they said they're not going to be taking any more clothes. Yeah, we've got all the clothes that we need now. We've got the high end clothes that we need now. That's probably it on that. But I will say on the speech, like, you know, let's see what happens at the budget. We know what the thing. We're still shrouded in mystery. She's trying to give some optimism, while at the same time, it's a lot of what we've already heard. Let's not always assume what the papers are always saying is the truth as well. I am still, like, this whole thing over donations and whatnot is not a very good image for Labour. The whole winter fuel payment thing is was a very bad call from them. You know, they didn't need to do either of them, if I'm honest, guys. They didn't need to do either of them. But I thought the speech, like, she gave her speech, and I have to see what happens, you know. The first, it's on a Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Wednesday. So they'll do PMQs, and then they'll do the budget straight after on the 30th of October. Wednesday the 30th of October is when it will be. I hope they go for big invaders, not the wee messes, as the Kiev. Wonder how many people were at the Labour conference versus last year's Conservative conference. That will be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting as well. New Labour Blue Label, no sugar for you. We have sweeteners from business donors. Yeah, there's actually a piece of... I actually picked up a news article just before we came on, actually. I didn't have time to add it in the edit. If I have time, I'll show... if I don't have time to read it, I'll show you at least the front of it as well. Yeah, free parking in NHS car parks, but if the PR5 runs, you still have to pay if you are buying them out. Yeah, we don't have free car parks here in England, yeah, for our doctors and nurses. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Reeves only got $9,000 for her clothes during the campaign. $9,000. Yeah, $9,000. Yeah. Yeah. It's so hard to get like Mick Lynch was brilliant. You know what he said? He said just he gets Mick Lynch. He said he gets his clothes from Marks and Spencers. I like that. I like that from Mick Lynch when he was asked about it. Okay, continuing on with the more from Labour here. We got this is an exclusive from The Guardian here. So Reynolds condemns the scaremongering over Labour's workers' rights overhaul. The business secretary has said that some headlines about planning employment bills were pretty obviously wrong. So this is exclusive from him, so from The Guardian here. So let's just read into this first. So the business secretary has condemned scaremongering around Labour's plans for an overhaul of workers' rights next month, saying the package will transform lives. Transform lives, yeah? That's that reflux. Ooh, needed that. Apologies. In an interview with The Guardian, Jonathan Reynolds said Labour would legislate next month for far stronger protections for pregnant employees and begin consultations on plans for more generous and modernised systems for parental leave. Yes, thank you for refreshing my memory here. Yes, so there was obviously the talk about giving people more opportunities to work from home. There was that discussion. I covered that in the video. And then, of course, there was the talk about having talking about 4 day a week rather than 5 days a week. And I said in that video, and I'll say it here to you guys, if I was working full time in retail like I used to, I would gladly work 8 to 10 hours a day and have 4 days of work and work 40 hours plus, rather than working 5 days, working 6 hours, for example. It would be much better for me that way, because it also means I get an extra day off to have in my life, while also earning my pay, shall we say. But some people prefer the work five days. Some people might be more inclined in it. It's different to everyone, I will say on that. Definitely more in favour of obviously giving workers more rights. They've had their rights being eroded from them for quite a while as well. So there is definitely some good stuff here. He also confirmed that the legislation would mean a maximum probation period of about 6 months for the vast majority of businesses, with workers given them protections from unfair dismissals and a right to maternity and sick pay. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, people have lost we need to make sure that they are protected. They're really, really important. After months of detailed negotiations with businesses and trade unions over make work pay plans, which will form the next month's employment bill, Reynolds said that he had absolutely been scaremongering over the plans, that the headlines on the French-style labour laws have been pretty obviously wrong. This is pretty popular stuff. Reynolds said, when you look at the flexible working stuff again, it couldn't be really be more reasonable. What we're saying, I don't think it's onerous of what we're putting forward, but I do think it will make a difference to people's lives. I do generally believe this will make some of these workers' rights things will make a difference to people's lives. I really do. If they get pushed through, if Labour does implement and then we will see those changes. I really do believe in this. I really do. The employment bill, which was branded as a new deal for working people when Labour was in opposition, would be a key counter to the difficult budget that Rachel Reeves will deliver at the end of October, along with a planned overhaul. Yeah, so throwing this in when you have some negative stuff with a budget will definitely help. But we know the media will the mainstream media will highlight the negativity rather than what positive things the government will do. It is key to the narrative that Keir Starmer will drive through on Tuesday at the Labour conference that the government will deliver swift, tangible change and improvement, as well as economic stability. The bill has been subject to an onslaught of lobbying by business groups who have warned that the extension of employment rights and strengthening trade unions will place unnecessary burdens on their members and hamper growth. Reynolds said that now was the time for government to begin to loudly champion what it would do for ordinary people, and I'm really keen to argue for this bill. I think you will do your best when you are happy at home. I do think making sure work reflects the realities that many of our lives today is really, really important, he says. The population we see around Europe and the US, this is a challenging environment. We've got to be able to show that politics can deliver and make a difference to people's lives. And I think that's really, really important. And this is an example. It is something that will give a tangible, meaningful improvement to people's lives. Probation time, it is here, has a rule 15 days, says Jal. And here's me sitting in my Simon. Yeah. You know, if you're comfortable in your own homes, however you want, you ever want to be, buddy. The 3 months contract 1 year after one term, all succession employment is negotiable between the employer and employee. Jal says, all firing has to be sustained or has to be sustainable or Sustainer build on the law, says Zhao. I'm not saying that word right. I blame the migrant headache that I've got. That's what I'm blaming, guys. Sorry. Might be because I've recorded more than 20 videos today. Might be. Reynolds said he was particularly passionate about Friends' family reforms and that the bill would bring, including an overhaul of the parental leave system. The review will look at the shared parental leave and the current rights to take 18 weeks of unpaid parental leave for each child at any time before their 18th birthday, which is currently only available to employees with 1 year of continuous employment. We're going to review the whole parental leave system. We're going to have much stronger protections for pregnant workers, Reynolds said. I think we lost a lot of talent from the labour market. The majority of trainees at top law firms were female. Majority of associates were female. Majority of partners were male. Obviously bad for the individual, bad for the worker. But it isn't bad for the economy. Isn't it that bad for business? Yeah. So you will see specifically in this bill the specific pregnancy protections for women who are in the workplace or on parental leave, because that is the thing that will go out in a longer term consultation about what those changes should look like. The bill would also give bereaved parents whose partners had died in childbirth and whose babies survived the right to leave for the first time, which was previously not enshrined in law. Why was this not enshrined in law? Labour has pledged to present the bill to Parliament within its first 100 days in office and is expected to do so in early October. The final sticking point with business and trade unions have been the maximum period the bill would enforce the probation period, which Reynolds said would still land at about 6 months for the majority of businesses. Yeah, 6 months. As long as it's enshrined in law, yeah, I'm happy with that. I know some do longer than 6 months. But I think 6 months is acceptable. I can understand if people want more, but I'm not a woman, so what the hell do I know? But no, in all seriousness, they need to have that time. The mothers need to have that time with their child. All businesses want to know that their normal recruiting practices will be reflected, but I think if you have worked for 2 years and you were unfairly dismissed without redress and without recourse, that's quite significant. Reynolds, who has defended Starmer and Reeves over the course of the Labour conference for attending events such as football matches, yeah, all false equivalence. And your politician is not really about what's fair and what's not. It's just how it is. There's a fundamental difference between whether if people think Keir should go and watch Arsenal and the kind of corruption under the last government, he said. Yeah, nice spin there. You turn down the vast majority of it. The test can't be don't go in something you actually like. I have no objection to the transparency of it, but the idea of somehow British politics sort of being subject to malign influence, I just don't think that's true. That is 100% bullshit. You cannot tell me gifts and donations do not influence politicians. I'm sorry, I do not accept that premise. Someone gives me free tickets to a wrestling show, I'm going to say, what's the catch? You know, someone gives me free tickets to an event or gives me £1,000 in cash, I'm going to say, what's the catch? By the way, I'm not expecting £1,000 of a super chat to come in right now, but you know, you expect something in return when you're gifting these. I just don't buy this premise that it's all transparent, it's okay. Like, yeah, it's transparent. Yep, you're following the rules, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, still should all be banned. But anyway, rinse and repeating what I've said earlier. It means ending a contract without negotiations has rules for both employee and employer, says Zhao. Oh, no worries, that's fine. £9,000 for F's sake. Yeah, I know. £9,000 for clothes. All firings has to be sustained on the law, says Zhao. No such thing as a free lunch. No, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Not even for kids. Not even for our kids. There's a video of an Arsenal fan warning Starmer not to show up. This could be interesting. I'm not going to do anything. He's going to turn up. He's got free tickets. He's going to turn up at the box. What are you going to do? Boo Keir Starmer while everyone else is paying attention to the football? Come on. He's not going to do anything. PMs, presidents, and MPs watch football games, but if they get free tickets or perks, it's a crime. I don't think it's right. Did they get these freebies? British MPs, what a life, and around here they receive something called salaries. There's also a cafeteria in Parliament. I do accept the premise that, you know, that there is this. I do accept, yeah, that perhaps some MPs and politicians don't get paid enough. I do accept that premise. But I would rather taxpayer money goes towards paying them more than them getting these free gifts and donations. That's just my personal preference. But some people will disagree and say that they would rather gifts and donations instead of them paying out taxpayer money for it. Some people will. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's just what some people will say. Anyway. So, speaking of the winter fuel vote. So, at the Labour conference, at least on Wednesday morning, at least at the time of this recording, so this could potentially change. So, unless this is updated, please let me know in the comments down below, guys. So, Labour conference is got the graveyard slot for the winter fuel vote angers Unite. So, union disappointed at the scheduling on debate on motions condemning removal of allowance from most pensioners. So, they've got their vote, Unite, who wanted a vote on the winter fuel vote, on the winter fuel for the Labour conference. Only problem is it's going to be at Wednesday morning, which is when it's supposed to be dead. So, which Unite, understandably, are not happy bunnies about this. They would have wanted it on a more busier time, which is understandable to a certain extent. They said it would be 90 minutes of booing. No, they will not spend 90 minutes booing Keir Starmer. They will be more Arsenal fans will be concentrated on the football than they will be of the Prime Minister. They're not interested in some of those. The majority of those fans who go to those games, they're not interested in the Prime Minister. They're not interested in Keir Starmer. They're not interested in politics. They're interested in supporting their team. That's what they're interested in. They don't give two hoots whether the Prime Minister is there or not. I will say on that. But yeah. So let's read a bit more into this. So the Unite Union has accused Labour conference organisers of seeking to silence them by scheduling a vote that could condemn cuts to the winter fuel payments at the very end of the gathering. So Unite and the Communications Workers Union, which co-sponsors the motion, calling for ministers to reverse the removal of the allowance from all but the poorest pensioners, had hoped it would take place on Monday, the busiest day of the event in Liverpool. But it's been shafted to the very end on Wednesday morning after a final ministerial speeches and when many delegates will have left. Unite called this the graveyard slot. So yeah, when everyone else is gone, they will have a vote. The chair of the Conference Arrangement Committee, the CAC, Leanne Morris, faced boos and heckles from some delegates after she announced the timing for the debate and vote, which could well be passed given the union's backing. This is a very busy conference and we're trying to accommodate as much as we can. I'm going to take this back straight back to CAC and I'll come back with you with an answer ASAP, she said, calling on the hecklers to show a little bit of respect for each other. They should have known this was coming when they voted the winter fuel. They should have anticipated this and had a better time slot. They knew this was coming. I think this is deliberate by them. By the organisation, by the organisers of this conference, because they knew there would be some kind of pressure from it. They knew there was going to be some kind of pressure, and they decided to shove it in a quiet area where no one would pay attention to it. Sharon Graham, the leader, the general secretary of Unite, said, "Right now, it's fair to say that the Labour leaders have tried to silence the voice of pensioners, workers and communications at party conference in this blatant manoeuvre to block debate on winter fuel cuts and the departure towards austerity masks too. When this becomes wider known, there will be real anger amongst everyday people, real anger." The CW said it was concerned the debate could be squeezed out altogether. They're trying to keep it quiet. While the leadership Unite in particular has often been critical of Keir Starmer, the decision to announce in July to remove the annual payment of either £200 or £300 depending on age from all pensioners apart from those who receive the income-based benefit has caused a wider concern in the government and the party. Speaking to the BBC before her main conference speech on Monday, the Chancellor Rachel Reeves said the cuts were not changes that I expected to make or wanted, but blah, 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 £22 billion black hole, heard it all before. While the vote would be non-binding, a major show of dissent from unions and delegates could make for a downbeat ending to Labour's first conference government for 15 years. Unite has promised a motion to condemn the cut and is likely to end in a reverse compromise motion being agreed with other trade unions. Similar to a motion that was passed at the TUC conference, the initial wording of the motion calls on the government to make a U-turn in the October budget by reversing all cuts to the winter fuel allowance. She's not gonna U-turn at the budget, guys. She's not. She's not gonna U-turn. We have to, it's just not. The backing of major unions would likely be given the motion enough support to pass the conference floor, despite the fact the vast majority of Labour member delegates at the conference, without significant left-wing blog, are supporters of Starmer's leadership. And the cold and the old say, warm monarch, not war monarch. Those out in the rain trying to protest out there. Dozens of protesters outside of the wheels of Liverpool, which lie outside the main conference zone, urged the Chancellor to reverse the decision. The union members stood in the pouring rain with some holding placards saying, warmongering, not warmongering. This isn't set in stone, but why is a Labour government considering this in move in the first place? One said, a crowd of protesters chanted, winter fuel cuts go away, tax the rich and make them pay. Yep, the obvious one, tax the rich. United member Josh added, we've organised this protest and we've got 100,000 retired members and the vast majority of them are going to be losing their winter fuel payment. There's more than enough money in society to pay for the winter fuel payment. It needs to be taxed because it's currently held in the hands of very few people. The 50 richest families in Britain are worth a combined £500 billion, which is the same as half the UK population. We're not a poor society, but the state needs to tax the wealth and redistribute it. Hashtag common sense, guys. Common sense. Yeah. We do not need to do this. We do not need to do this. We do not need to do this. I've said this enough times already about it. But they're still trucking along with this, guys, and it's very, very frustrating to say the least. A donation to the policeman's retirement fund gets you a free get out of jail free card. Oh, I thought you just land on the community chest and you get one. But there's another way of getting the card now. Thanks, Ginny Bottle. But pensioners generally vote Labour and are too expensive. That is true. Pensioners do normally vote Conservative, don't they? That is true. Wake up. They do normally go in favour more towards Conservative. But it still doesn't. It still doesn't help their image, shall we say? The only thing that's beneficial to them is that this is all early days. Like, it's only a couple of months in since the general election. So they can get away with this stuff. That's the problem. So, we could forget about all this in 3-4 years' time and say Labour have done some decent things. But time will tell, like we said. Jal says, the donor system here in Portugal gave us a dictator back in 1926. Reason why we did not repeat the same mistake. It does not work. MPs are public employees. Pay them a salary and control. There you go. There you go. Just get rid of the... Just get rid of the donor system. Land tax, says Simon says. Yes, I keep forgetting about the land tax. Yes, land tax. We keep hearing that. I keep hearing that and I keep forgetting about it. Land tax. Thank you for reminding me of that. Absolutely. And tax the royals. Yeah. Yeah, make the king pay his fair share of tax. That would be a good idea as well. Let's... Right, I think... is that the last one with the conference? This might be the last one on the conference before we take a little break anyway. So this one's from Sky News. Ed Miliband promises renters will not have to suffer such cold homes. The Energy Secretary said the government will consult by the end of the year on boosting minimum energy efficiency standards for private and social renting homes by 2030. I hope he can. I really do hope he delivers. He can deliver. Ed Miliband. Now that he's got a position in the cabinet, he has. I look back and I wonder. Would he have really made a great prime minister? I wonder. Part of me thinks he would have been okay. He certainly would have been better than keeping on with David Cameron in hindsight. That's for sure. But this promise here, you can't make. Don't make a promise you can't keep. And this one, I don't like we said earlier. The winter fuel payment. You can't promise that you will heat every single home. You can't promise rent. You can't promise that pensioners will not die from the cold. So the government has promised to look at increasing the minimum energy efficiency level required to rent a home by 2030. The Energy Secretary Ed Miliband has used his keynote speech at Labour's conference to promise to take more than 1 million renters out of fuel poverty. He said the government will consult by the end of the year on boosting minimum energy efficiency for standards for private and social rented homes by 2030. Now, currently, private homes can be rented out if they meet the Energy Performance Certificate, E, while social rented homes have no minimum energy efficiency standards. The government wants to raise that limit to an Energy Performance Certificate C or equivalent by 2030. The consultation is part of Labour's manifesto pledge to raise standards in the private rented sector, with the government saying it goes even further by extending it to social rented homes as well. Mr. Miliband accused the government of leaving the poorest people in the cold, daunchy homes, calling it a scandal and an outrage that Labour will not tolerate. Warmer homes, lower bills, over 1 million people lifted out of fuel poverty, said that's the difference the Labour government makes. We need a campaign, a real hard campaign drive to get houses insulated. I'm not just talking about, yes, of course, I'm not just talking about ensuring that in new homes. I'm talking about the homes we already have, in particular here in England. We need to get a drive going to get homes more insulated, and we need to push more and more incentivizing people to do them, and we need to push this narrative. We need to incentivize people to insulate their homes. We need to ensure that every new house that is built is insulated as well. We need to make sure that rented properties have looking at insulation as well. We need to push this narrative more than ever. I don't understand. We are in 2024, and we still have this situation where there are lots of homes that do not even have insulation, let alone being able to turn on their goddamn heating. It is absolutely effing insane. We should not have this situation. We really should not. But this is what happens when you have 14 years of Conservative. Like I said, I really do hope that Labour, not just on this, but can help bring down people's energy bills over time. I say over time. But I really do think that one of the first steps is obviously pushing and incentivizing more people towards green energy. Solar panels, obviously, on the roofs, if possible. Incentivizing people to go electric cars, if possible, as well. As I said, insulating new homes to reduce the heating. Anything to help reduce people's energy bills, while also saving the planet, relying less on fossil fuels, all that stuff. We need to push this narrative more and more, because there will be oil and gas companies that will want to be trying everything they can to try and protect their interests. However, it did not mention the fact that 10 million pensioners have had the winter fuel payments removed by this government. It was first introduced by Sir Tony Blair, who were under who Mr. Miliband was the minister, to help pay for higher energy costs in winter. The move is part of Labour's Warmer Homes plan to make homes cheaper, cleaner, and cheaper to run. Do you think we're going to see the back of warm banks after this Christmas? Do you think so? I'd like to think so. I really would like to think so. How is green energy green? Said Robert Higgins. Good to see you, Robert. Hope you're doing well. How is green energy green? It depends what energy we're using. I think that's the answer for it. So if we are less incentivizing on some of the energy that we use from oil and gas, for example, and more reliance on solar and wind energy, for example, I think that's more green energy. There is one criticism that I've heard a few times about wind and solar, which I think I can understand this criticism of, is that we don't always have wind. Yes, that's true. We don't always have the sun. Yes, again, that is true. I agree with those criticisms. That's why there's a little thing called batteries. Batteries that you basically store energy in. You know, we do have actually energies. We do have batteries like for in the grid and whatnot, because obviously if we didn't have storage of energy, you know, I wouldn't even be live right now. So there is something along that lines as well. So yes, all this kind of stuff costs money, I know, but we do need to start making that transition. Greenpeace welcomed the announcement, but said that the government has a long way to go to get all the poorly insulated homes fit for purpose. Yeah, that's the problem then. Campaign's group's head of politics, Amy McCartney, said when it comes to insulation, renters have been left out in the cold and landlords let off the hook for far too long. Yeah, we need to push landlords to getting these homes insulated. So we wholeheartedly support this proposed move to ensure that the homes of those living in private and social housing are properly insulated, warm and cheaper to heat, which also lowers the planet heating emissions and make Britain more energy secure, she said. This must come with the measures to ensure costs are not passed on to renters. Yeah, with 90 million homes rated EPDD or under the UK. However, the government still has a long way to go to ensuring that all poorly insulated homes are fit for purpose. Yep. Introducing a national renewal tax on the bloated wealth of the super rich would be a fair way to raise revenue required to fund these measures and bring people's energy bills down for good. Yeah, we keep saying about taxing the super rich, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. Nope, I don't think warm banks will be around for 5 years, Regan. Yeah, I'm hoping warm banks will be completely gone within 5 years. I actually hope that by the time we get to the next general election, I know we won't get rid of food banks altogether, but I would hope that we see a decrease in food banks. If we see a decrease in food banks, that will say a lot about this Labour government and how they're tackling this cost of living crisis as well. That will speak a lot as well. Where do the elements of batteries come from? Congo, some of it. What about slavery laws? You do realise that some of the devices and things that some of the phones and devices and components and parts are from materials that are originated from Africa, Robert. You do know that, right? So we're already. I don't agree with it. But we're already, not just us, but many European countries. We're already doing. We're already taking it. I'm not saying it's right in any way, shape, or form. But we're already taking it. Lithium, is it lithium? The material, I think, for the iron batteries, like that's obviously from some of the mines and whatnot in Africa and other parts, other poor nations. I don't agree with the way it's being done in any way, shape, or form. But we're already doing that. It's not something in any way, shape, or form I'm proud of in any way, shape, or form. For me, if you just go quickly off topic, for me, these nations, these poor nations, yeah, they barely get any money. These poor nations, these governments, none of them profits or money that's made off these mines. They're owned by private companies, and they basically sell it off into the highest markets and whatnot, international markets in Europe and whatnot. The countries they originally come from don't see any of that money. And it's disgusting. Like, not even a small amount. Lithium. Thank you, Simon. That's it. Lithium. Yeah, they don't barely get any money for it. It's shameful. They should get something from it. I think that's why, America and some Western nations, they would stop any of these nations trying to nationalize these mines or these resources, because if they do, it means that all the money would go to those countries. It's disgusting, I know, because some of that money should go to those countries. But unfortunately, that's the way the world is, I'm afraid. But yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with you. It's not right in any way, shape, or form. Whatsoever. I don't know what that noise is. Sounds like the cats are causing the missus trouble. Anyway, speaking of trouble, let's take a little break, guys, shall we? I've got a couple more stories. We've got one or two stories outside of the Conservative conference. I do have a new funny story we'll have at the end of the show, but I wanted to play this one here because I think it suits the narrative, especially we've been going on about the party conference, the Labour Party conference, and we've been talking about those greedy pensioners. I know we've heard this one before, guys, but I do enjoy listening to this one, and I hope you guys do too.
Welcome to Broken News. The UK government says it's committed to fixing the economy by going after those with what they call the broadest shoulders. They've begun by focusing on old people who are living lavish lifestyles on sometimes as much as £11,500 a year. Our reporter has more.
The central claim of Labour's election campaign was that they wouldn't hit working people with tax rises. But clearly, that slogan allows room for taking money off old codgers who've already done a lifetime's work. And while many UK pensioners have traditionally voted Conservative, pundits say the PM's plan is a novel way to kill them all off. It's clever stuff. Sir Keir Starmer says he's not afraid to take the difficult decisions, and nabbing 300 quid off old Granny Ethel in West Bromwich is definitely more difficult than making big fat Russian non-doms pay their fair share. In fact, the PM says, for example, forcing Amazon to pay their tax is actually too easy, and that's why he can't be bothered to do it. The Prime Minister, who still insists on calling Rishi Sunak the Prime Minister, has been urged to make a U-turn on the winter fuel allowance, but has rejected accusations from other Labour MPs that he's behaving like a Tory. In an email seen by Broken News, he told them, "U-turn if you want to. The lady is... Sorry, I mean me is not for... I'm not for turning. I mean, I'm not going to change my mind." In a public statement, the PM said, "We've always said those with the broadest shoulders should bear the biggest burden, and many pensioners have quite broad shoulders because of the thick, warm blankets they're forced to put around their icy, withered necks." In response, the Conservatives have very suddenly become extremely worried about the welfare of the working classes and say they're standing squarely behind the poorest in society, which in fairness is exactly what they would have done at the Somme. Back to you.
What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
I just want to show that picture. Where is it? Where is it? Greedy. Oh God. I do love that image. It's a brilliant image. Oh, they need to have a laugh every now and then, guys. We do. We really, really do. Dave McGuinness, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. It's a bit like Scotland and oil. We get little to no money from it. It's exactly like that. Well said, Dave McGuinness. It's exactly like that. Thank you for the £5 super chat, my friend. I appreciate it. 100%. It's just like that. While some are buying a new phone, same as the old phone, I still use one that is 20 years old. LOL, says Genie Bottle. Simon says 55 says lithium is an abundance resource. Rare earth metals are bottlenecked until space mining. There is a huge abundance of it. There is still quite an abundance of it on the planet, but is there enough resources for the materials for all the batteries that they want to produce? Well, at the moment, until we reach that point, I mean, you could apply that. Couldn't you apply that same concept to oil and gas as well? Like, you know, isn't it the same as hunting for oil and gas? It's the same. Is it not the same concept? It's just the case of how much of it you find. I want to make it clear that I don't approve in any way, shape, or form of the way that it's dug out, the way it's all done. I don't approve of any of it. I really don't. But I generally believe that I would rather us go down this direction rather than continuing to go with the oil and gas direction, which continues to pump and produce emissions into our planet. But yeah, I'm sure this conversation will continue without a shadow of a doubt. Speaking of people, I honestly did not think we'd be talking about this lot, but apparently they want to try and act like they're the good guys in all of this in some way, shape, or form. At least Kemi wants to, and anyone on this as well. So Kemi defends the MPs taking freebies as it's a way to spend time with their families. Former Minister vying to be the next leader of the Conservative Party stands by our own acceptance of free tickets to sporting and music events, but accuses Labour of hypocrisy. Girl, shut the fuck up. You can't talk about this like you guys are thinking it's okay. Seriously. Like, seriously. Come on. Like, Boris Johnson. Like, there was a story I literally heard about Robert Jenrick. And you guys are saying, it's like, this is it. This is it. This is the Conservatives saying, like, we've taken free things too. It's like them trying to imply, like, some kind of, like, they're all the same on this topic. All the politicians are the same. That it's like gifts and freebies are perfectly all right, guys. It's perfectly fine. It's fine. It's fine for us. Don't change the rules. Don't change the rules. thinks it's time someone starts a campaign to get rid of gifts and donations from politics. So the Tory leadership contender Kemi Badenoch has defended MPs taking freebies tickets to events, saying it allows them to spend time with their families. I didn't realise it costs money to spend time with your family. Do you know how much it costs for me to spend time with my partner? Nothing. I can just simply either go downstairs or and talk to her, or we can go for walks in the park. We can go to the town centre. That doesn't cost anything, unless we actually buy stuff in there. You know, I can spend time with family that doesn't really cost money. She's implying like you have to take freebies in order to spend time with your family. That's not true. That is just not true, guys. The Conservatives have accused Labour of being a government of self-service and living the high life since details emerged of donations to senior figures in the party, including tickets to Sir Keir Starmer to watch football matches and see Sayers with in concert. But while Ms Badenoch accuses the new government of hypocrisy for taking donations, she also stood by her own register of interest. That shows she has taken tickets and hospitalities for a rugby game and that Jingle Bell Ball concert and Ed Sheeran. Oh, she's had it plenty. She's had it good as well, hasn't she? Speaking to Times Radio, the Shadow Housing Secretary has said, "What many people don't see is the school sports days that I miss or my children are crying." No one's saying that you can't go and go to the sports days, Kemi. No one's saying that you can't do that. As they were this weekend, because I had to go to hustings, a lot of constituency functions which you do, which means that you actually miss out on time with your family. Well, Kemi, you know, if you want to go and spend time with your family, you can always stop this campaign of yours to try and destroy the UK and take, you know, and becoming a Conservative MP. You can always step back from it and let someone else take up the role instead. If you're so distraught about not being able to spend time with your beloved family, no one is stopping you. No one is stopping you. So if someone says, well, you can go do some work and we can have a chat and you can get time to spend time with your family, it's something that you probably wouldn't be able to do normally, and you say yes to it. It's just trying to talk like she understands people. No, just oh God. Asked why she didn't pay for the tickets donated to her by the Rugby Football Union, Global Media and Entertainment Limited, and the Football Association Premier League Limited herself, Miss Badenoch said, well, then why would I have those meetings with those organisations? Because they want something in return from you, don't they? That's how it goes, Kemi. It's just one of those things where people are basically, they're asking you to work and provide some fun around the work. No! Don't bullshit me with saying that you're not going to be asking for something in return. They don't give you free tickets to events and stuff and expect nothing in return. Just don't play that. Don't play that dumbass card with me. Good evening, Mark Welke. Hope you're doing well. But the former Labour minister insists her party's criticism of the new Labour government was fair because they were taking these freebies not to do their jobs. She said it's about the hypocrisy. They are being criticised for being hypocrites. They criticised Boris Johnson for putting wallpaper in a public property in number 10. That's why they're getting criticised. Now, let's be clear, he took a lot more stuff, a lot more donations, and a lot of things that we still don't know about. He took a lot of money. Yeah, let's be very, very clear here. This man took a lot of money. I'm not getting notifications. For anyone with the notifications on, what you do is you turn it off and then you turn it back on again. That's usually what fixes notifications. Normally, that's what fixes them. Normally. If that doesn't work, then I blame YouTube for it. Sorry about that, Mark. But as for but yeah, it's not just about Boris Johnson putting wallpaper in public property in number 10. He took so much money, it was insane. This is where I have to be on a bit of a Labour side here. You can't compare what Boris Johnson and the amount of money that he and Conservatives took in comparison to Labour here. You just can't. And also, it's also very important pointed out, and has been pointed out by people on Labour side. Again, I have to agree with this. They didn't declare a lot of it. A lot of it was not declared. Some of it was not declared at all. So there's more about this than we don't know. So that's an also important point. All of these activities, quite frankly, are things that people know about. They see us at these events. You know who else is at all of these events? It is BBC journalists. It's a lot of the media. They aren't freebies as such. They are events that you get invited to. Journalists aren't politicians. Journalists do not make decisions based on our lives. I don't give a damn about journalists. Journalists can, if you want to give freebies to journalists, that's fine. Publicity and whatnot. But you're politicians. Politicians make differences to people's lives. You guys can be influenced. It's not rocket science to figure this out. Don't try and make this comparison between journalists and politicians. It's just nonsense. Asking us to pay for things, I think, rather than showing us what we are doing and why, it's missing the point. It's about hypocrisy. No, it's called conflict of interest. That's the problem. The problem is conflict of interest here. Speaking of Sky News on Monday, Chancellor Rachel Reeves insists here no government stuck by the rules. Yet we've read all this. We've had all this already from Rachel Reeves. But yeah, you shouldn't be accepting any and all. But I feel like we're rinsing and repeating on that bit. No one should be accepting bribes. Well said. Wake up. That's exactly it. Yeah, no one should be accepting any bribes whatsoever. Yeah, well, I don't. We've already commented on it enough, guys. So I think we've made the point very loud and clear. So moving a bit away from politics, guys. I will come back to it with another story in a moment. But I just wanted to come to this one here from iNews. But just before I do, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you haven't, share this live stream across social media so others are notified of it, so they're aware and they can come in and hang out with us. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, guys. Help me get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'd like to get to 2,000 by the end of the year, if possible. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Help me get over that line. That is one of the targets I'd like to reach by the end of this year. But if you want to go one step further and you like the content that I do, I'm not providing lots of news, especially short videos every 6 hours, 24/7 here on this channel. One of the ways you can support me in the work that I do here is by becoming a YouTube member for just 99p. Yes, and you get lots of perks for being just a 99p member, guys. Not only do you get access to custom emojis of the gang behind me, let me just show you who they are, for those who don't know who they are. So that is Ollie the octopus. He is one of our. He was the first mascot of. He was our first mascot of the of it. There on top of the orb, the all powerful orb. Pingu, the penguin there, which he's allowed. His only reason he's allowed to be a part of the gang is because my missus approved of it. So I had to get permission from her to have him part of the gang. And then hiding behind Pingu, the penguin, is Cash Dummy, the cookie monster that you could just about barely see. There he is. There. He says hello. So, and the lava... don't fall over. And the lava lamp there in all its glory. So you get emojis of all these guys. I'll just show you the lava lamp. There it is. And you get emojis of all these guys. And guess what? Even me as well. I've actually got my own emojis as well, which is kind of a bit weird. Maybe I should do new ones for them. But so you get them for being 99p members. Not only that, you get access to membership community posts as well. And whenever you comment on any of my videos, I give you a response. Sometimes it can take a couple of days for me to respond to your comments if you are a member as well. And I do respond to them. Just bear with me when I do as well. So if you are a YouTube member and you comment on my videos, I do give a response to it. But here's the best part as well. Not only do you get all those benefits, guys, you also get early access to content. So content that I upload for the next couple of days, for Tuesday and Wednesday, is already available to YouTube members, you 99p members. So you get all that, guys, for just joining for just 99p. May not sound like a lot, but it really does make a massive difference. So if you can support me for just 99p, it is greatly appreciated. Obviously, other ways, if you wanted to, buy me a coffee or join me on Patreon. Link for them are in the description if you want to do it that way as well. So thank you to everyone and everyone who has supported me in any way, shape or form. And if you can't financially support me, that's totally fine. Just hitting the like button, sharing, watching videos longer, all that stuff is one way you can do it as well. So enough of the shimmering. Let's move on. Good morning, Steve McMorran over in New Zealand. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And anybody else who happens to be lurking as well in the chat. So more than 350 sewage spills into seas and rivers this month after months worth of rainfall. Thames Water reported nearly 300 spills across its region in the past 48 hours. So I think I think, yeah, we have to accept that there was going to be some sewage spills this month. As much as I hate it, because of the rainy season, it was going to happen, guys. It's going to be so this next month as well. I know it sucks, but that's the situation that our water and our sewage systems are in right at the moment. Obviously, the sooner that Ofwat are given more powers to clamp down on these water companies and money is actually put into investment, the sooner the better. But it will take some time, obviously, for that change to happen. But yeah, nearly 300 spills across the region in the past 48 hours is, yeah, not good. Oh, by the way, some reform voters actually think that immigration is a result of sewage spills. If anyone can square that peg in round hole, please feel free to do so. Anyway, let's read into this one. So more than 350 sewage spills were reported throughout England and Wales after the Met Police recorded a month's worth of rain across large areas of Britain on Monday. Thames will report nearly 300 spills across its region in England in the last 48 hours alone. More than 90 discharges were reported along the coast of England and Wales, including dozens of spills into marine time protection area and special marine areas of conservation. South West Rural reported 27 spills in the past 48 hours, the largest number behind Thames Water, 295. This was followed by Southern Water, 25, Welsh Water, 20, and Wexit Water, 11. And Thames Water has pledged to upgrade 250 of its sewage treatment works to increase the treatment capacity and reduce storm discharge, while Southern Water has developed a £1.5 billion plan to tackle storm overflow. Water companies are allowed to discharge sewage during periods of exceptional rainfall to prevent the system from being overwhelmed, but concerns have been raised over how often this has been happening. Yeah. So this is this map here is more than 90 discharges were reported to surfers against sewage in the past 48 hours. This is a photo from surfers against sewage here just to show. So we can see quite a lot of X's and ticks where there have been is there ticks? Yeah, ticks of where they've been discharged. Not really. I'm not going to comment on Scotland and Northern Ireland's ones there. But you can see there's some ticks there. A lot up in Norwich. There's quite a few ticks there. Not too many from the looks of it along Newcastle and Tyne on that side. Quite a couple of there on all the way up to the north of England, right onto the border of Scotland there. A lot of ticks there. Again, it's like the north of England once again looks like it's getting the ones who are discharging the most there. Wales has distributed quite a fair bit there as well. Not seeing much down in the south of England or southwest. There are a few ticks, but not that much. But yeah, it's the north that's once again being taking the most of it. Mind you, it is the north of England was getting the most rain throughout this month. I think it's fair to say as well. So I think that's really important to emphasise as well. I'm getting really tired of rainfall being used as an excuse, says Exmouth resident and sea swimmer Joe Bateman, who is taking South West Water to court over pollution over a local bathroom problem. We've covered her story before, guys. It's not rain that's the problem. It's decades of failure to invest in maintenance and enhancements of infrastructure. And whilst water companies sit in their ivory towers, lining their pockets of these shareholders, that's the problem. Yeah. We've talked about her in her campaign because she's argued that, the water, that she should be allowed to swim in the waters, and she's told she can't swim because obviously it's not ideal. But she said, well, they should be the ones cleaning it up, and rightly so. Artabas, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Oxford have had its wettest day in 56 years. 56 years! Wow. Obviously, that's definitely nothing to do with climate change, as they say. According to Surfers Against Sewage real-time map, one of 27 discharges reported by South West Water in the past 48 hours involves sewage being poured into Ex-Ustry, I mispronounced that word right, a special protected area which runs along Exmouth's coast and houses a range of rare bird species and grey seals. A Surfers Against Sewage spokesperson told the Eye, once again, our failed wastewater system has been overwhelmed due to a lack of investment and action by regulators, which have been going on for decades. South West Water has pledged to invest $38 billion in the Exmouth area of up to 2030 to upgrade pumping stations and treatment works as well, significantly reduce the number of spills and further protect the environment. I'm just not buying this stuff from them until I see it. Like they can say this stuff. Until I actually see the change, I'll buy into it, but I'm just not taking it in. One Angry Pain, good to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. I'm assuming you were checking out you on the Labour social live stream. I'm assuming their show is over there. Ali Morse, the water policy manager of the Wildlife Trust, said, with every burst of heavy rain, we see water pollution brightening even protected rivers and coasts, risking devastating consequences for wildfire. The lack of investment in sustainable infrastructure combined with cuts to agencies tasked with enforcement means rivers and seas are filling up with toxic waste. We need to see more ponds and wetlands to capture rainfall and prevent it from overwhelming sewers, particularly to protect sensitive places. A protected area is not protected if it's being blighted by discharge of human waste, 100%. So this is also by the Rivers. This is by the Rivers Trust. Thames Water reported nearly 300 sewage discharge over the past 48 hours. Apparently, they should highlight what these mean. So I'm assuming the reds mean the discharge, the ticks mean the discharge. I wish it would be a bit more clearer there, if I'm honest. There, but yeah, it's not good. Not good. Mark Lloyd, the Rivers Trust Chief Executive, told the ICE sewage overflows are a persistent problem that regulators and companies should tackle many years ago. There will be significant investment by companies over the next 5 years to reduce spills. We would like to see more complacency action by local authorities, housing developers and farmers to slow the flow of surface waters that lead to sewage overflowing. Greater use of nature-based solutions like wetlands to achieve this could have benefits for nature recovery, drought resilience and net zero targets. Spokesperson for UK Water, which represents all water firms, says no sewage spill is ever acceptable and water companies have proposed investing £11 billion, tripling current levels to end sewage entering our rivers and seas. Ofwat needs to approve these plans in full. Yeah, but they're going to argue we need to raise we need to raise water bills in order to pay for these investments because, you know, we've given all the money to shareholders, so we can't put this investment in unless we raise the water bills by 80%. Something along those lines is what they'll say anyway. Super Tiny, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Leading up to the general election, the I called on all major parties to commit to a 5-point manifesto to tackle sewage pollution and save British rivers, seas and waterways. I have more faith in the Liberal Democrats dealing with the water crisis than Labour, if I'm honest. The Water Special Measures Bill introduced by the Labour government will bring in severe and automatic fines for polluting water companies, as well as the power to pursue personal criminal liability charges against executives. While some of the measures laid out in the ICE manifesto will be introduced in the new water bill, such as tougher powers of the regulator Ofwat and increased prosecutions against water companies, the I is still urging the government to go further by using the first budget to raise Environment Agency funding to enable it to properly monitor sewage spills, as well as offer farmers grants to reduce agricultural pollution. The Liberal Democrats and the Green Party have signed up to the manifesto, but Labour and the Conservatives have yet to back it in full. Sir Keir Starmer praised the I's manifesto, but stopped short of fully committing to its 5 pledges. The I has contacted the Environment Agency, Thames Water, South West Water, Southern Water, Wessex Water and Welsh Water for a comment. They have not responded. I wonder why, guys. I wonder why they have not responded. Probably because they don't want to say anything that might affect them. They already know they are not very well loved, to be fair, guys. They are not very well loved. That is for sure. Let me just see what you guys are saying in the chat. Traffic light system. Yeah, some kind of... Yeah, I think that's it, as the kid, as he said. Yeah, traffic light system of some sort. Yeah, probably is what it's going to be. There. Labour to build a reservoir sewage systems using billions of PFI funded by customers and taxpayers. Water companies to collect profits. Each £1 of PFI money would lead to £5 to £6. QA library there. 2 out of 2 repayment gifts for banks and water companies. Thanks for that, Q. I appreciate that. I hope it does make a difference. I really hope it does. Ofwat will do FL. Right now they're doing FL because they don't have the powers. I'm hoping that if they give, obviously, the new powers that Labour are going to give them, obviously, hopefully it will mean something down the line. Whether it will or not, obviously, time will tell. But we'll have to see. How many patients are there for weather modification? I suggest scores going back to the late 1800s, said Robert Higgins. Sigmund Moore says farming practices are out of date and need to change. The use of nitrogen fertilizers is disastrous for nearby waterways. There is so much more environmental friendly alternatives. Yeah, there probably is, to be fair. Scotland gets more rain, but south of England gets more intense downpours. Yeah, because I still technically live in London, but I southeast London, right on the outskirts. I'm still inside the M25, but yeah, I would say I probably don't get as much downpour poor as other places, that's for sure. But it differentiates, doesn't it? Used to go to Exeter summer holidays as a kid, especially when I lived in Exeter, since when I grew pagan. Should I cover this one? I'm not going to cover this one in full, but I'll just highlight this one for you guys. I want to talk about the other Guardian article that I picked up just before we came on, guys. So it's not in the description. I'll probably add it after. I'm not going to read this whole article, but I just want to share it with you guys because I wanted to talk about this one a little bit. So Sadiq Khan is to promote London in events with global leaders during the New York visit. So the Mayor of London will be in the US City this week during the United Nations General Assembly. So he's not the London Mayor's not at the Labour conference at all, guys. He's in America. So he's promoting the capital as leading destination for business, tourism, and spots in a series of events of global leaders during a trip to New York. And he will be in the US City this week during the United Nations General Assembly as well. So the Mayor is due to speak at a number of events, including the Anya Kolagala Annual Summit, Global Affairs Forum, and works and addresses the world's most pressing needs, the Climate Pledge Summit, and the New York City Climate Weekly Hub, according to his office. So this is what Sadiq Khan is doing. But a general question I ask for you guys, should he actually be at the conference? Because he's the Mayor of London. Should he actually be there rather than here? This is something that Dave McGinnis brought up in his channel. On the Dave McGinnis, the two Davies brought up on their news earlier today about Sadiq Khan not actually being at the Labour conference and actually being in America. And I do wonder whether or not should he be here or should he be at the Labour conference here? I can understand that not everyone's able to be where they need to be, but is it because just to have a representation in these events, to have somebody from the party in these events, that is just something that kind of crossed my mind when I saw this one. So let me know what you guys actually think about that down below, because I'm like, part of me is like, I don't think it's the end of the world that Sadiq Khan's not at the Labour conference, but the part of me is like, because of where he's going, the things that he's doing are actually, it's very good that there's somebody there on behalf of the UK. But should he have been the one? Should it not have been someone else perhaps on behalf of Labour being going there? Maybe it should have been a government official instead. I mean, he is the Mayor of London, I know, but I don't know. Just putting that thought out there, guys. Just putting that thought out there. But let me know what you guys think about that one. So this last one, that is not in the description for you guys. I will add it after the live stream, which I mentioned at the start of the live stream for those who have popped in now. So big banks, oil companies and tech firms are lobbied at Labour's Business Day. So more than 500 lobbyists and executives flocked to access ministers at the party's biggest ever business event at the conference. I'm not going to read this one in full, but I just wanted to highlight this. Again, we had a lot of lobbyists. It wasn't just unions, obviously, at the Labour conference. And to be fair, we knew, and we all knew, you should know, that there were going to be lots of firms, lots of lobbies here at this Labour conference. They were there last year. They were already stinking their teeth into the Labour Party, throwing money at the party when they knew that the Conservatives were on their way out. The polling was indicating that people were already fed up. It wasn't a case of people turned to vote Labour because people want Labour or people like Labour. People did it because people turned to Labour, the British public, because, well, we only had two choices. People were kind of sick of the same 14 years of Conservatives, so they went with something different, and they went with the Labour Party. I don't accept this premise that Labour are super popular. No, I don't think it's that case. I think it's a case of people were just tired of the Conservatives. And if Labour are to be popular, what they do in this time really, really does matter. But when you see big banks, oil companies and tech firms lobbying at Labour's Business Day, it does raise eyebrows for sure. Now, I would say tech firms are not the end of the world. I do think that that's important because obviously we want to improve technology, AI, all that kind of stuff. We want, future developments and all that kind of stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Big banks, these guys screwed us over in the 2008 financial crash. I don't like us cozying up to them, but then we have a Chancellor that's, very cozy with them as well. And then oil companies. Oh, yeah, I'm sure the oil companies get along very well with Ed Miliband, Don't think so, but Yeah, I mean, there was 500 lobbyists there, so they've thrown a lot of money in. But let me read this bit here, guys. So big banks, oil companies and tech firms were among more than 500 lobbyists and executives who flocked to Labour's biggest ever business event at his conference, paying £3,000 a ticket for the chance to gain access to ministers. Keir Starmer was introduced to the Chief of Executive of HSBC and interviewed by the UK Chief of Google. Yeah, definitely nothing here, guys. Nothing to see here. And told businesses they should come directly to number 10 if they had a problem being heard by the government. Oh, okay. He's giving them all a free pass. Come straight to me if you have a problem. The £3,000 a head business day was sponsored by firms including Heathrow Airport. Oh, I wonder what Heathrow Airport want. Maybe it's an expansion to their another runway that they always wanted. In which in July said would put forward a new blueprint pushing for expansion. Oh. And HSBC, who announced this recently, claimed that Labour plans to bring in a genuine living wage, which would risk harming the economy. Oh dear, no, you can't be bringing a genuine living wage. No, that might hurt us bankers. They can just go fuck themselves if that's how they feel. Event was more transparent than in previous years and those at the Conservative Party conference. I wonder what the Conservative Party conference is going to be like. I don't think there's going to be much enthusiasm at it, is it? With delegates giving them the chance to question Reeves, Starmer and Jonathan Reynolds, business secretary, in the long hour sessions in front of an audience. Starmer was introduced by Ian Stewart, the HSBC chief, who said there was an optimism among companies about resetting relations with the EU and praised Labour for pushing a genuine partnership with business. Now, in all seriousness, I'm joking about, I'm just having a bit of fun here, but it's the business thing is really important. I don't like that they're cozying up to certain businesses. We've covered articles from Open Democracy about some of the things that they've uncovered as well as from others, including the exclusives from I as well in the past. And I understand I understand the importance that they need to cozy up the businesses, because right now businesses need assurances. I've said this in other videos. Businesses have lost trust with politicians. They've lost trust with the government because of the way the Conservatives not just delivered Brexit, but kept kicking problems down the road and not dealing with problems with it, and pretty much straightforward lying to businesses about it. So understandably, businesses turned to Labour because, quite frankly, they felt a great deal of distrust and discontent, misleading from the Conservatives. Now, we don't know if Labour are going to be like that. I imagine that they're going to be a lot more straightforward with businesses about things. I think they'll be a bit more in grey area when it comes to Brexit, but they also know that businesses are suffering as a result of Brexit, so that is something that they need to tackle. They can't keep kicking that can down the road. They are going to need to address that. But they could potentially become a party of business, which is a weird thing to say about Labour, given that they are supposed to be a party for workers and trade unions. But yeah, it's an interesting one to say the least. Like I say, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll put the link for this. I'll tell you what I'll do, guys. I'll put the link here if you guys want to have a look anyway. But I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll put it there, and I'll put it in the description after the live stream for you guys anyway. But looking back on it, I do think that obviously there's still Keir Starmer's speech, which obviously will be interesting to hear. I do plan on listening to the speech in full. And we'll probably cover a bit of it maybe on Wednesday on the Snowflake Watch. But I do think it's important to have these conversations with businesses. It's really, really important. I wish they didn't cozy up to oil companies and gas companies. I really don't like that. I don't like that they're close to gun lobbyists, to some private arms firms and weapons manufacturers, because we know last year that they were last year's conference they were cozying up to them. So I didn't like that at all. That's definitely something that definitely worried me as well. But I am trying to be optimistic, while also I am extremely cautious about Labour as well, and rightfully so. I really do think a lot of things about where we're going as a whole. The UK really does ride on what's going to happen at this budget. It really, really does. But time will tell, guys. Time will tell. Excuse me. Money gives to Labour. Yeah, that's it, Alistair Keir. Labour are not the change people voted for, and I really don't see it getting any better. Well, we'll see. Time will tell, won't it? Time will tell. Like I said, I said I would give them 100 days. So I am prepared to give them 100 days at least. Let's see what this budget does. Let's see how things go by the end of the year as well. Policy on Palestine, yeah, I know exactly where you're coming with that one. Wake up. It's worrying because this kind of conduct by Labour is going to destroy public trust in politicians and lead to more populism. I am concerned about that. I'm really scared about them opening the door for Reform UK. I know it sounds daft. It does sound daft when you hear some of the things that come out of some of these Reform people. But make no mistake about it. You know, they got over 3 million votes at the last general election. And that's something we should be concerned about. The reason Starmer doesn't want Scotland to be independent, oil and gas, and now Scotland's green energy. Yeah, well, I really hope that Storm out. Is it Stormont in 2026? I hope the SNP give Labour a right kicking there to remind them that hey, you don't own Scotland. I hope so anyway. But that's down to the SNP to get their act together. And I generally hope they do. Warming up here in Springs, it could be quite stormy with the warm air from the tropics coming down and meeting the last of the cool air of winter, says Steve McMahon. So it's a $3,000 with Labour. Suppose it's cheaper than the Conservatives' $10,000 handout, says Stephen Banker. That's probably a better way. That's probably a way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah, it's not ideal. I know. I understand the frustration, guys. I understand the frustration. So, guys, we've gone about an hour and a half long. I've got one final video for you guys to see ourselves out. I hope you guys enjoy this funny video. I haven't listened to it in full yet, but it is a nice one from Nerdy Skimmer Comedy. She's very, very good at impersonating people. And today she's doing an Angela Rayner parody. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's hear. It's about nearly 4 minutes long. So let's hear what she has to say.
Alright, it's me, Auntie Ange Raver, and I'm here with some tips to keep you warm this winter. You know, whether you're poor, rich, old, young, dog, cat, turtle, whatever pet floats your boat, I'm going to keep you warm. Now look, this country comes first after the heating. You know, look, Keir's made some choices, you know, that's on him, alright, but don't shoot the messenger. So I'm here to help the people, alright, and I'm going to make sure that you're alright when the heating prices get right pricey. Number one. Now, if you're at home and you're shivering, you don't know what to do, right? If in doubt, rave it out, pop on a banger and just get going, all right? Now, side note, it doesn't have to be any particular music. You can use whatever you want, you know, you do you. Maybe you're old and you want a bit of Pavarotti, or maybe you're young and you want a bit of Miley Cyrus, or maybe you're middle-aged and you want a little bit of Oasis. I mean, who wouldn't, all right? But I'm going to go with a bit of house music, all right? Have it large, that's right. So let's get going. Hey! Shimmy to the left if you're having a good time, shimmy to the right if you're having a bad time, shimmy to the middle if you're just there and that's good.
That's probably Angela Rayner.
Number 2, take off some clothes and pretend you're in Ibiza. Bikini, mankini, shorts, onesie, whatever goes for you. There's no judgment here. I mean, Keir's wearing Gucci and his wife's wearing Louis Vuitton. Just think you're in Ibiza and you're going to sweat hard, baby. Step 3, sit down, have a relax, have a cheeky fag, which you can do in your own home, because guess what, it's not illegal. Perfect, right? Then, oh no, you're starting to feel a bit cold again, the sweat's going dry. You know, what do? Go again, baby, let's rave, way! Ange Raver on the decks, pensioners, you ready for the beat to drop? Hip hip, replacement! You won't need one though. Might need an osteopath though. Labour! Whoa. Now let me tell you the benefits of 24/7 raving, alright? Number 1, you're helping the environment because you don't have to put the heating on. Number 2, you're saving money in your pocket. And number 3, you're sorting your waistline out. That's right, Auntie Ange Raver, saving lives out here. Right, now PPS, if you do want any extra information on the gear I can get you from Ibiza, do get in touch, alright? Now, I'm not allowed to put it online or broadcast it or anything because I'm Deputy Prime Minister and it's a bit bad for my reputation, but do get in touch because I'm telling you, the stuff I can get you will keep you hot for days. Oh, and PPPS, right, just want to say and acknowledge the elephant in the room that I'm not going to be taking any more like clothes or nothing from any posh people, you know, because I'm one of the people, and if that means I have to be like naked to prove it to you all, I will do that. I'll lay down and expose all whatever I need to do.
No.
Right? So if you do see a bit more of me than you used to, there you go, you know why. Ange Raver, over and out.
Okay, I think we heard enough of that before I get copyright strike. Well, no, I won't get a copyright strike because I don't monetize my live streams. That's just the loony raving Angela Rayner parody from Nerdine Skimmer comedy, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, bit of fun there, I have to say. Yeah, hit replacement. That was a good line. That was a good line from her. But I was like, no, we don't need to see you naked. No, please. I like that because taking the mick out of the media, saying, how dare she go out raving? What's wrong with her doing raving? I was like, that's a bit different to taking gifts and donations and that. A bit different to that, if I'm honest, guys. So, guys, just a reminder before you guys head out, I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. with the Snowflake Corner, covering some world news. Obviously, I'll be covering obviously what's been happening, the latest happening in the Middle East and other parts of the world. So do join me for that if you want. I already have the funny memes ready for you for that show tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So do join me for that as well. Then I'll be back on Wednesday with the Snowflake Watch at 8 p.m. We'll cover some of watching and reacting some of the latest clips and videos. We'll probably look at some stuff from the Labour conference as well, some other things that will be happening as well. On Thursday, myself and One Angry Pagan will be covering the latest news and stuff. We're talking about that. I'll probably talk about the Labour conference on there as well as some other things that are happening in there. I'm looking forward to that chat with him as well. And then on Friday at 7 p.m, I'll have the Snowflake conflict. I'll be covering some of the latest things that are going on, not just obviously what's happening in Gaza, Ukraine, Myanmar, and Sudan, as well as other places as well. So do join me for them. Also, another thing I was just wanting to highlight to you guys as well. So, Regan's News Round is going to be episode 50. And I want to do it as a live stream. I don't want to do it as a premiere video. Now, normally I've been doing it on Saturday evenings for you guys. I will not be here at home on Saturday. So, what I am proposing that I may do, no promises, I might do a Sunday live stream for you guys doing Regan's News Round. So maybe, no promises. It will depend on content, depend on what time I have. So I may be doing a Sunday evening live stream because I know All Shorts is not doing live stream that evening, but I might do one Sunday evening for you guys. So keep your eyes out. I will let you guys know I'll let you guys know as we go through the week whether or not I'll be able to do it or not. It just depends as well. And I do have a holiday coming up next month as well, where content will be significantly reduced as well. But yeah, thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you, Dave McGuinness, for the super chat earlier today. It is greatly appreciated. And for everyone who are for the moderators looking after the chat, and for all the members who have financial support with me, greatly appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. As always, the gang here want to say thank you as well. They want to say thank you as well. Ollie is all smiles. Because thanks to you, Dave McGuinness, you made him smile today because you gave a very nice super chat today. So Ollie wanted to say thank you. And in doing so, he's just turned off the orb. Did not need to turn off the orb, Ollie. Did not need to do that. It was very rude of you. And guys, just before I head out, I'd say my usual thing. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for just 99p. Or you can join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.